what are some pros and cons of using structured settlements for personal injury claims of children in Illinois? Hi, I'm Josh Rohrscheib. I'm a personal injury lawyer in Central Illinois. And when it comes to coming up with a plan for personal injury settlement proceeds for a child, there isn't really like a one-size-fits-all approach or just a standard plan that works for every kid in every situation. We really have to look at each case individually and work with the parents to try to think about what makes the most sense for that child, how to maximize the benefit of the settlement for that child. And we look at factors like what resources are available for the child, what kinds of needs do they have, how long will it be till they're 18, how much money are we talking about in the settlement. All these factors and more go into trying to craft what kind of a plan makes the most sense for the child. In a significant subset of our cases, one of the tools that we use for settlements for children is something called a structured settlement. With a structured settlement, when we get the lump sum of money that's going to go to the child out of their settlement, instead of just putting it into a bank account, the money is used to purchase an annuity, typically from a life insurance company. And basically what will happen is we can get we can set up a plan with that life insurance company where they will agree to pay back a specific amount of money at specific dates for the child in exchange for that lump sum payment. So sometimes it may be the case that we would purchase an annuity that would pay the child on their 18th birthday. In some cases, we work with the probate courts, and we can get the court to, in some cases where the parents think it's in the best interest of the child and the child's needs for resources, at 18 don't seem necessarily to require getting all of the money at 18. In some cases, the court will approve paying part of the money at 18 and part of the money after 18. So we've handled structured settlements where the child would be paid, let's say a plan that's designed to help with college, where part would be paid at 18, 19, 20, and 21. Or in larger settlements, we've had a few approved where money would be paid out at 18, 21, and 25. Often parents like this approach. I've joked with other dads that, I've been an 18-year-old boy myself, and maybe the best thing for me wouldn't have been to have all of my settlement money on my 18th birthday. I had one dad call it giving their child a mulligan. So if they make a bad decision at 18, maybe when they turn 20 and they get another pocket of their money, they'll be better equipped to make a better decision. Sometimes parents like this idea. Sometimes parents also like that by spreading it out, there's a little more time for the money to grow. You have to kind of balance that with wanting the child to be able to have their money and to be able to invest it how they want to invest it, and they may be more willing to subject the money to greater risk to obtain greater returns when they're 18. And that's another factor that kind of goes into the analysis when you're trying to decide what the best option is for a child. So what are some pros and cons of structured settlements? Well, one pro is the growth on the money is typically tax-free growth. And there aren't a lot of avenues for tax-free growth. So there's tax-free growth with the money that you put into a structured settlement. A second advantage is that the percentages of earnings on the lump sum invested is higher with the structured settlement than other types of plans that are often used for minor settlements. We often see lawyers just put money into a CD, and CDs have very low rates of return. So while the interest that you'll get in a structured settlement may not be huge, it may not be what you would get on your 401k because you're not allowed to really risk the child's money. The earnings will be higher with a structured plan than with lots of other types of investment options that would be available for a child settlement. Another advantage is that you can invest some of the money and kind of until after 18 to allow a little more time for growth, and some parents view it as kind of protecting the child from themselves a little bit. And another advantage is that money is very safe. We only look to very high quality insurance companies to purchase these structured plans. And an unfortunate reality as a parent, I know something could happen to me, and then someone else could be looking out for my child. And sadly, if you look nationwide, a certain percentage of these cases where there's a large amount of money available to a child, something happens to money. A guardian may make off with it or take it, or it may be spent by someone other than the child. With a structured settlement, there's no risk of that happening with the money that's been used to purchase an annuity that's going to be paid out to the child. The risk of, someone would basically have to submit fraudulent forms. Some of the structured plans kind of require a court order to be able to be liquidated before the date in which they would have to be paid out. So one advantage of structured settlements is you don't have just a bunch of money sitting in an account that someone other than you as a parent, a guardian may have access to, and where there's some risk that guardian may spend the child's money. A few of the downsides of a structure, though, it's not a liquid asset. It's not an account that you can just go draw money out of periodically. If something comes up in your child's life that was unanticipated and you need the money for the child, unfortunately with a structure, if you need to access the money, you're going to have to pay a penalty to sell the structured plan, and you would basically lose a lot of the settlement money by having to sell it early. So we only recommend using structures when there's a high degree of confidence in the parent that they will be able to provide for whatever needs a child may have until they're 18, whatever may come. So that's one disadvantage. Another disadvantage is it's possible that an insurance company could go out of business. I mean, we try to only use very highly rated insurance companies, but it is always possible that something totally unforeseeable could happen. And but again, it's important to use a high quality insurance company with a structured plan, a highly rated insurance company, to minimize that risk. But on balance, I tend to think that if my son were involved in some kind of an accident, I would think a structured settlement could make a lot of sense because of the tax-free growth, the ability to protect some of the funds past 18, the relative safety of the funds, and there's one other thing I'll mention. There's also an administrative ease. So another common alternative to a structure might be just having the money in a guardianship account. With that kind of an arrangement, typically the court will want you to go back before the court every year and file an accounting and update the court on the status of the money. And if the money is in a structured plan, it's not being actively managed by a guardian, it's already been used to purchase this annuity. Courts often will not require you, typically won't require you to file annual accountings and come back and back and back every year, which can save some time and some money. So there's also some simplicity in using a structured settlement. Well, hey, I hope this information is helpful. If you have a child who's been involved in an accident, or if you have a child that's been injured and has a settlement coming, first, I'm sorry. Just as a dad, I'm sorry you're going through that. But I would tell you that the settlement money can be a blessing for your child, and it's worth taking the time to look at different investment options to see what approach might make the most sense for your child and what can do your child the most good. I think structured settlements are a powerful tool to use or consider. And if you'd like to talk through options for your child, we're always happy to offer a free consultation to folks who've been injured or who may need help understanding how Illinois injury claims work. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video.